Hey, welcome back to another video. Today we are doing the final test that I did between the Ursa Mini 4.6K and the Pocket Cinema Camera 4K camera. With this test, what I did was I wanted to see first off the dynamic range in highlights. So I filmed in kind of a darker area with a bunch of bright light behind the person. Then I wanted to see how bad the IR pollution was on the Pocket Cinema camera compared to the 4.6K, and then kind of show you that. So let's just jump into it. So the first setup is sitting in front of a very bright background. No lights are on in the foreground other than just open windows. So you can see on the side of his face here that the light is hitting from the window on the side. And this is at an f4. So we have the 4.6K, the Pocket 4K, and then the Ursa 4K. So you can see right away that the 4K falls apart as far as dynamic range. That extra stop in the 4K, the Pocket 4K, is pretty impressive. And then I did it at an f16 to see how much you could bring up in the shadows on each one of them. So the thing that was very interesting to me was there wasn't a huge difference that I noticed between the 4.6K and the Pocket 4K as far as highlights go. Kind of surprised by that. So then I did another test outside, and this has a ton of ND on it. The 4.6K has the IR cut filter on it. But you can see here, again, the 4K, the sky and highlights are starting to blow out just a little bit. And then you can see the 4.6K is nice and clean. Highlights roll off really nicely. And then here's where I could tell a little bit of difference between the Pocket camera and the 4.6K as far as those extra 2 stops of dynamic range. You can see that the roll off of the highlights in the hair on him is like, it's a little more crunchy in the hair versus the 4.6K. And just down on the horizon, you can see just that some of those highlights are starting to get close to clipping. I don't think anything was clipping in this scene. So then I did it 4.6K raw 3:1, and this is again in dark shadow, looking out at on a cloudy day, seeing if those clouds blow out. And I'm at f16 and at the Pocket at f16, and you can just barely see a little bit of difference as far as those highlights getting close to clipping on the Pocket camera. And then in the darks, you can see it's starting to crunch just a little bit compared to the 4.6K, that extra 2 stops of dynamic range. And then I did it at an f8, so the sky was just barely starting to clip. And you can see in the highlights over on the right side of the frame, above the houses there, it's starting to clip just a little bit. For the most part, keeping pretty good information. And then the Pocket, again, along the horizon, above the houses, you can really start seeing that clipping. And then side by side. The big thing that I noticed between the 4.6K and the Pocket camera, the highlight roll off is what you can really see the difference. Okay, then I color corrected them so you could kind of see what it looked like with a quick color correction on both. And the Pocket, it was hard to keep those clouds from blowing out. You can see them side by side here. And then the f8 and the Pocket at 5.6, and then side by side. So that kind of gives you an idea of how the Pocket Cinema camera and the Ursa Mini 4.6K compare in highlights. I would say I didn't see as dramatic of a difference as I thought I would, expecting to see quite a bit more, but I didn't, so it's kind of surprising. And then I did the IR cut filter test. For those of you who don't know, IR pollution is what happens when you put a ton of ND in front of your camera. It skews the colors of the frame. It kind of gives a reddish tinge to everything, and it's really difficult to color correct, to fix. So let's start with the 4.6K. I made a video about this IR cut filter quite a while ago. You can check it out in the description below, but let's jump into it. So the Ursa Mini 4.6K, this is with an ND 1.5. So I had an ND 9 and an ND 6 in front of the camera. And you can see right away, this shirt is supposed to be black, and it is definitely looking red. And then we go to with the IR cut, and you can see a huge difference right there, without and with. So the blacks are now black, the grass looks more green rather than this kind of orange tint to everything. And then I shot the Pocket 4K. Now I do apologize, I didn't have a monitor on that day. I thought I had the focus set because the focus is way off, so I apologize there. But the colors should still give you an idea. Without the IR cut on the Pocket, you can still see a little bit of that red in the shirt. Obviously with the IR cut, it looks black, it looks great. So then I did a side-by-side. Here we have the Pocket next to the 4.6K. I'd say the 4.6K is slightly worse. The Pocket still has it though, so I have the circular one from like Black and White Photography, I think it is. That works fantastic. Again, link in the description below if you're looking to get an IR cut filter. Definitely something I would recommend with the Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, or make sure when you buy NDs that it says it has IR cut built into the ND. That's probably the best bet for you. I personally have an ND set already that I didn't want to have to go and buy an IR, so I went with just getting the IR cut filter, which works fantastic. As you can see in the next shot, the two are very comparable to each other. And again, I apologize for being out of focus on this one. Okay, so then I color corrected it to see if I could get the IR cut to go away. So here you have the Pocket 4K, here it is with the IR cut and without, and that's after color correction. So you can see I got it to look okay. The black still has a little bit of that red tint to it, but as far as skin tones go, I was able to get the skin tones to look decently well. And then with the 4.6K, same thing. I couldn't quite get it out of the shirt. The biggest thing with the 4.6K though is I couldn't quite get the skin tones to match very well. I couldn't get that red, especially in the beard and the cheeks. I couldn't get it to get out as well as I was hoping. So you can see them side by side. Again, the Pocket 4K is slightly better. I could get the shirt looking a little more black than I could with the 4.6K, but with the IR cut, the two matched up pretty well. So I hope this was helpful. Again, this is just a comparison between, I know the Ursa Mini 4.6K is an older camera. I'm probably gonna do these same tests again when I get the Ursa Mini Pro G2. I'm very excited for that camera, by the way. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos, and I'll see you guys on the flippity flop flip.